Hey everybody, it's your girl Bunny. To all of my returning subscribers, hey, how you doing? And for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. Kick your feet up, subscribe to this family-friendly channel, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you don't miss any posts. Also follow me on Instagram at the same profile name so you don't miss the sneak peeks of what's coming up next. In this video, it's Ready to Love DMV episode 8 entitled Operation Meet the Homie. I give a full episode recap with photos offset to the side, and then I give my review at the end. No need to dig around. I keep all of the minute marks in the comments. It's all coming up next. It's back at the Gentleman's Lounge with Tommy, and last week the ladies let you meet their exes. Now it's time for you to introduce your selections to your best friends, your homies. They know where the bones are buried and have perspectives no one else would have. They can be the resource to help you decide if they can be a great fit in your life. Donovan thinks his friend can give some good insight because he went through the same process last season. He will be able to help him with some questions. After the meet and greets, the fellas will meet at the end of the week to discuss the dirt and decide who isn't ready to love. Tori is a little worried about his friend because his friend will say anything and has no filter. And Paul says his friends are pretty ratchet. It won't surprise him that they will want the insight on the lady that he doesn't pick. The silly comments bring some laughter to the room. Paul brings his friend Chill Bill and he comes through. He's excited about the day. Paul says to production that his strongest connection is with Tina, but when trying to communicate with her more, lately she's been invasive. On another note, Carmen and DaKiya will join them. Paul needs Bill to help him ask some questions that he may have missed and then later share his thoughts. DaKiya has always known Paul to be a man of mystery, and now she really has the chance to dive a little deeper, maybe with his friend. The greeting goes well, and Bill says that he's known Paul before he was Paul, P.O. or P.O.J. P.O.J. started in 5th grade when he would rap about being a gigolo. Little did he know gigolo didn't start with a J. DaKiya says that she likes how Paul is very supportive and protective. She's a boss at work but doesn't want to be the boss at home. She would want her man to handle being that strong support system. A man that can bend both ways in two worlds. In one world, being able to go to a formal dinner and then go to the hood and be able to kick it. Bill loves DaKiya's vibes and jokes that if there were a point system, she just gained a lot of points. DaKiya says that she's not worried because she's a champ and there is no competition. Then Carmen makes her entrance down the steps with pure confidence and beauty. DaKiya has no chance to hide her emotions of shock. Carmen says to production that I was a bit confused to see DaKiya there. Maybe it showed on my face, kind of like, what is she doing here? DaKiya says to production that she's worn the blue contacts again. I thought Clifton already told her they weren't a good look, but I guess she didn't get the hint. Bill jokes to Paul that he sees the dilemma now when it comes to the choices. Carmen jokes about how she doesn't call him P.O., she calls him Paul. She's known him for about 2 weeks, so they're still learning a lot about each other. DaKiya says that they're still getting to know one another as well, and Carmen asks if they've even been on a date yet. Maybe it's something to explore, or not. DaKiya laughs at the comments and says to production that why is she trying to compete? If he's the guy, there's no need for the tension. He's going to choose the woman that's best for him, and you should be choosing the man that's best for you, not the one that you think is easier to get. DaKiya leaves the date with some goodbyes, and Carmen lets Paul know that he kept the best for last, to get rid of the zeros and to get with the hero. Bill loves Carmen's jokes and swag, indeed. Carmen says to production that Paul and DaKiya are total opposites. Maybe he likes that, but we'll see. Bill is honest with Carmen. It seems that you like to control a man a little bit. Carmen clarifies that that's not the case at all. She's very competitive and her dominance may come off as such, but she's very submissive in many ways. Paul brings her a sense of calm. She knows the fellas have to talk now, so she says her goodbyes. Paul says to production that Carmen may come off very superficial, but there's more to her. Bill says to Paul that both women are great and very opposite. He can see Paul out with Carmen, but at the crib with DaKiya. Carmen is the old him, and DaKiya is the new Paul. Is he ready to be Paul or P.O.? Paul surely has some decisions to make. Tori meets with his friend Ash to meet Sabrina and Ace. The first thing Ash wants to know is, you couldn't find a better place to meet, man? Tori breaks down the details. He has 2 ladies he's interested in, and he wants Ash to check them out and ask the important questions. Tori says to production that his connection with Sabrina is shaky, and Ash is a BS detector. Sabrina arrives and Ash formally introduces himself as Ashley. Sabrina even surprises Tori with a gift. He says to production that the candle gift is sending mixed signals, but it's showing interest. Ash explains that his name is Ashley, but he goes by Ash because it's a little more masculine. And Sabrina says it's fine. She goes by Brina because it makes her a little bit more manly. They all share a good laugh, so things are starting off pretty great. Sabrina answers the questions, and she's dated before, and this process she's ready for. It's just unfortunate that things didn't work out in the past. She wants a partner in crime to enjoy life and not to give up on her or themselves. Ash thinks that they look good together. Now Tori has to call the other date, which Sabrina finds strange that he made the call right in front of everyone. Tori keeps calling Ace and there's no answer. Tori says to production that it didn't seem like her to stand him up unless their connection is not as strong as he thought it was. After several calls that go to voicemail, it's obvious that Ace isn't coming, which is disheartening to Tori. Sabrina says that she's ready for something real, but wants everything to go slowly. Tori agrees that they're still trying to get to know one another, and so far so good. He's learning that he's very decisive and not everyone will think the same way. After Sabrina says goodbye, Ash notices that she may not be ready for anything serious. She was just in a relationship not too long ago. Tori also notes to production that Sabrina seems like she doesn't have her mind made up. Maybe she's being more engaged to keep him around. Also, the fact that Ace didn't show up, maybe anything shared between the two should come to a close. She could have at least said, "I'm not coming." Demetrius meets with his friend Ken. Ken will help him ask the questions he overlooked. Demetrius knows Sabrina has other connections, so it may be a time to apply more pressure to get some serious questions out. Ken jumps right into it. "You have other connections, so where does my friend stand? Also, what do you feel that you bring to the table?" Demetrius takes note that his friend is, quote, bringing out the hammer with the questions. Sabrina is honest that Demetrius has been her top choice for a while. She brings a sense of security and love to the table. She was married for 7 years, so she's okay with the commitment and she's ready to date and find someone special. She doesn't want to jump into anything too serious too quickly. His friend now invites her to ask him some questions about Demetrius. Sabrina wants to know, what kind of woman do you think is best for Demetrius? And Ken says someone submissive. Sabrina says to production, "Whoa, hard stop. What are you talking about?" Sabrina tells Ken, "I'm not submissive. I'm very independent. I've always worked for everything I have. I need to have power over things that I want in my life. Submissive thinking is foreign to me." Demetrius says to production that the word submissive to a lot of women isn't easy to hear. Ken says that it may be something she may not want to hear, but Demetrius is that type of guy. Sabrina is truly left with her thoughts because the idea of Demetrius may not work out. Clifton meets with his friend Kenny to meet DaKiya and Joi. Clifton says to production that I have a connection with Joi, but my connection with DaKiya is growing. He explains to Kenny that when he met Joi, they met at the mixer and things hit off well immediately. Before the small talk can continue, DaKiya arrives. DaKiya says to production that she has enjoyed the several dates with Clifton and acknowledges their connection has grown over time, but it is weird to have a date with him and Joi. Joi says to production that it is interesting that others make connections while away from everyone else, so there's no telling what others are discussing. At the table, they talk about certain foods that they don't like, but DaKiya points out that she's tried foods that he wanted her to try, so now the tables have turned. Clifton must try something new, and he gladly does. He doesn't like the new cuisine, but at least he tried it. Kenny wants Joi to talk about some of the things that she first admired about Clifton. She jokes that, well, how can you not see him or notice him? He's tall and massive. But seriously, she says that she likes that he's his true self since day one. DaKiya says that it's the balance of fun and seriousness. You can have a very deep conversation with him, but he still knows how to joke around. Kenny agrees that Cliff's best quality of keeping it 100 can sometimes be his worst quality. It's a raw, uncut vibe. When Joi gears up to leave, Kenny notices their warm, long, embracing hug. Joi says to production that hopefully seeing the hug and feeling our vibes, DaKiya can see how much me and Cliff have a true connection. When Joi leaves, Cliff wants to taste a cuisine whose bowl looks like, as Joi explained earlier, a vagina. So he jokes that I've always wanted to know what your vagina tasted like, DaKiya. Everyone blushes as Cliff indulges. DaKiya says to production that Cliff and Joi do have a connection, but he also gave her a good night, long, tight hug. Joi is head over heels for him, but he's clearly trying to figure things out, which makes him fair game. The fellas talk about the two ladies, and they're really different. Kenny thinks that Joi showed more of her personality, and Cliff seems to vibe with her even more organically. Joi seems to be a better fit. Cliff wonders if DaKiya can match his vibe. He's very loud, loves to joke around, and will that make DaKiya feel uncomfortable with that personality? He wants to explore all of his options with everyone. Donovan brings his friend Phil, a previous contestant of last season, who gladly found love. Sabrina and Tina will join them for dinner. Donovan says to production that his vibe with Sabrina is a West Coast vibe thing and a lot of things concerning life goals. And he also has a connection with Tina as well. Sabrina is shocked. Tina is there, but she's rolling with it. She's at least happy she was invited to meet Donovan's friend. Tia questions how long Donovan and Phil have known each other. How long have they been friends? They've known each other for over 12 years. Phil gets straight to the questions with Tina. Where does Donovan stand when it comes to your connections? And what do you like about him? She doesn't directly say where Donovan fits so far as top choices, but he's a top choice for her. Phil doesn't pressure her to speak on anything else that she's not ready to talk about. She continues that Donovan is real chill and was understanding when it came to giving her proper space when it came to the process. Sabrina now answering, saying that maybe it's their West Coast connection, but they get along very well. Donovan notices that Tina hasn't eaten yet and shows concern. Tina says that she already ate, and it gives off the feeling and vibe that she doesn't want to be there. Tina says to production that there are so many dates and everything is easier said than done. She seems very frustrated. Tina seems a bit disconnected from the date now, and Phil keeps the conversation going, speaking with Sabrina to get rid of any awkwardness at the table. Sabrina says to production that Phil mentioned that he's known Donovan and has been there during his highs and lows, and now he's in a better place. That seems a bit off. Even though we both can understand this process of divorce, it seems like Donovan is still trying to find himself. After the ladies leave, Phil says that the ladies are both great. Sabrina seems very cool, she wants kids, and she's open to it. But some of the answers seem a little bit too perfect. Tina seemed not to be really into the date either, but it's up to him who he can decide what's best for his life and his future. Donovan says to production that Sabrina wants a family and I already have children, but if my future wife wanted children, I would consider it. Tina seemed not to be really engaged in the date, and she has a 2-year-old, so maybe it's just a lot going on. How will I fit into that dynamic? Maybe she doesn't have the time or desire for a man right now. It's time to start ruling out people because the clock is ticking. Paul says to production that when Bill told me DaKiya would be the most genuine option, I wanted to explore more with her. When they meet up, he explains that there's a difference in what he wants and what he needs. He needs someone simplistic, but someone who can match his lifestyle. On another note, someone who can take his corny jokes. What did one coffin say to the other coffin? DaKiya says, well, what did he say? He answers, is that you, coffin? It's such a corny joke that DaKiya can't help but to laugh. She wants to know what's something that no one else knows about you. He shares that he's very creative and loves to paint. DaKiya now feels that his spark may be something to get into. Tori wants to meet with Ace because when she didn't show up her call, it threw him off. Ace explains that she sees how he feels and how he reacts around Sabrina. She didn't want to stand in the way of their connection or pretend as if there was something there deeper between the two. She shares with Tori that she decided to pull herself out of the journey. Ace says to production that her true connection was with Laverne, and now that he's gone, there's no reason to stay. The best decision was to step away. Tori respects her decision, but she shouldn't have really not just ghosted him. And he wants her to stay, but it's nothing he can do to beg her. So he extends the invitation to remain friends. Ace leaves, and her last notes, she mentions that she enjoyed the journey, met amazing people, and has learned a lot about herself. The fellas join together in the men's lounge, and Tommy wants to know how are all of the ladies doing and if they held up in the homie hot seat. Donovan says Phil met Sabrina and Tina. He thought Sabrina was a better fit and was more compatible with him. Demetrius said they met up with his friend Ken, meeting Sabrina. He thought Sabrina was a perfect fit and he loved the connection. Clifton describes his friend Kenny meeting Joi and DaKiya. He was comfortable with both of them and he picked Joi as his potential, although he sees a romantic connection with them both. Paul explains that Chill Bill met DaKiya and Carmen and says if Paul wants a woman, to get with DaKiya, if POJ wants a woman, to go with Carmen. Tommy thinks Paul should make the decision. What woman does he think will be able to handle both? Maybe that's something you need to think about a little bit more. Tori explains how the meetup with Ash, Sabrina, and Ace was supposed to happen. Ash likes Sabrina and Ace didn't show up or call. He finds out that she pulled herself out of the journey because Tori and her have a friendship. Tommy announces to anyone that if any of them pull out or have talked about it, to please call him ahead of time. Tommy wishes that Ace would have talked to him, but wishes her well in the future. Tommy moves on, but wants to know what's going on with Sabrina. Tori feels that it's still uncertain with her. He doesn't feel like he's a top priority. Now it's time for the final decision. Who are the men not connecting with any longer and why? Tori says Carmen because they really just had phone conversation, but he's open to getting to know her more. Donovan feels that Carmen keeps it real. She doesn't change, but he would choose Carmen. He's not voting for Joi, but he's just saying that they haven't had enough time to get to know one another. Demetrius says Carmen, but they haven't had much time to bond or even go on a one-on-one. So he's voting for DaKiya. There's no romantic connection. Paul says he's interested in DaKiya and they've had their first date and it was something there, a connection. So he's gonna vote for Sabrina. Clifton says that good luck with that while giving a little laugh. Tori says Tina. Cliff mentions Tina, but she came later in the process. There isn't a connection yet because there's not enough to judge off. At least the connection with Sabrina. There's nothing there. He's had a chance to get to know her. Tommy is overwhelmed at all of the information. It seems like the men need more time to get to know everyone. There's not an elimination today, but there is a curveball. It's time to go away with the ladies for a weekend. Not just one night, but two. There's a lot of pajamas going around, and Tommy jokes with Paul. That means all of his clothes need to be ironed and ready to roll. The men are open to whatever happens next. Next time on Ready to Love, it's the weekend getaway and everyone notices Clifton has 2 bags on his bed. They belong to Joi. DaKiya says to production that Cliff and her made a decision to share a bed together. My feelings are hurt. Sabrina learns that Donovan was only single for a few months after his divorce. He really hasn't had enough time to be single. Sabrina says to production that I don't want to waste my time with someone who's just playing the field. Everyone notices Tina has yet to arrive, and Donovan gives her a call and hopes that everything is okay. There's no answer. Now he's questioning if she's serious about the process. And now it is time for your favorite part of the video. So it's like I'm Bunny Damas. You know, I've predicted everything that's happened so far. I said last week that Tina would be out of here. If she had stayed, right? If there wouldn't have been any hiccups with her being disconnected, I told y'all that she wasn't emotionally there. She seemed emotionally that she was in another place. And I predicted that this week that she would be eliminated. Well, since they've decided to extend this whole process, right, and give the men and the women a little bit more time to get to know one another, it seems that, you know, what I said has come true. Tina is not emotionally there. We also see in the previews for next week that she's emotionally detached. She's not answering calls from Paul. She's not answering calls from so many other people. And now that the weekend getaway is coming up, she's a no-show. So, you know, she's busy. You know, people have kids, people have lives, but, you know, her just kind of ghosting and then showing up to the date with Donovan. She already ate. It's just not a good look. But I told y'all this was coming, right? I told y'all this was happening. If y'all have been following my reviews, I told y'all that this was going to happen. Now, if we notice for next weekend's episode, they're moving them through a weekend getaway to be around each other even more. I've been suggesting over and over again that the whole process for this show should be them in a mansion all together, getting to know each other all the time. When you're spending the night, when you're around the people all the time, you don't have to start and stop and be at an assigned location and get the licensing to sit down to film at certain restaurants. That is a lot in between. And a lot of the stuff that's been happening and stuff that's being said, the good stuff, has been happening over the phone, the stuff that the audience can't see or hear. So that needs to be changed because, as I've also said, this show should be named Ready to Date, not Ready to Love. Love is such a powerful word. Love is so deep. And how am I supposed to love somebody that I've only spent enough time to just have a few dinners with and some phone conversations over the filming course is maximum 6 weeks. They could have filmed more than that. Let's just say 3 months. That's still a short period of time for me to say I want to be involved in a committed relationship with someone. And clearly they're not filming for that long. So everything that I've been saying over this period of time, we're seeing that come into fruition. We're seeing everything happening, and we're seeing everything evolving the way that it does because they don't have enough time. I've said over and over again that the people that were added, the curveballs, that they're coming in late in the process. And now they're having to rush and cram, seeing 2 or 3 people at a time at a date, 2 or 3 people at a time to meet friends and meet homies and family. That's just not enough time. And that's swaying off the fluidity of the show. And it seems like it gets worse, unfortunately, with each season. Now, when it comes to DaKiya, I told y'all that she happens to be a very smart, beautiful, intelligent, confident woman. But when it comes to competition, when it comes to other women who have that same energy, she kind of buckles down a little bit. And she's proven that time and time again. She's shown it with Carmen. She says before she even walked up to the date with Chill Bill, she says, I'm the champ. There is no competition. But when she sees Carmen, she's automatically, it's written all over her face. I even sang the song last week. It's written all over her face. It's written all over her face as soon as Carmen walked up. We also saw the intimidation factor when they're going for that weekend getaway, right? How Joi places her bags on the bed. Now her feelings are hurt and now she's feeling some type of way. This is fair game, people. This is fair game to go after what you want, who you like. So there's no dibs on anything. Production, let me talk to you again. I'm kind of upset with you again. Due to the issues with filming and it not being a good allotted space of time, now that the people that are left, whether it be men or women in each season, you're forcing this dynamic of, well, this is who is left, so let's just send them on 85 dates over and over again to get to know each other over and over again. That's not working. And now it's like we're forcing DaKiya to go on these other dates with other people because who's left, right? We have, I told you guys, Ace would either pull herself out, didn't I say that? Or either the person that she had the connection with, Laverne, will be gone because of some crazy stuff that he said, right? And now they're both gone. So I said that Laverne would act the fool. He did. I said after that, who else is Ace connecting with? Nobody else. It was either going to be Tina or it was either going to be Ace that was going to be voted out because neither one of them were really vibing like that. They weren't emotionally showing that they were interested like that. So, I'm upset with y'all, production. It's like, when did all of a sudden DaKiya become so open? She wasn't as open. She was open to the process, but it was all Team Eric until something happened once again off camera, something that we didn't see. It's just this domino effect of we getting tired. What else are you gonna do? Being this trip and them being alone and spending more time together will develop that pressure bursts pipes, and we'll get to see real attitudes and how people behave for real when the camera crew isn't as tentative. They're filming like more just their normal reactions and behaviors and stuff like that. So I look forward what they're gonna do. Hopefully they don't take another break. Y'all don't need another break. Hurry up and bring this reunion on. It ain't really that much going on. If anything, with the reunion, the only thing that we can really talk about is some stuff that's coming in the last few episodes. But other than that, it's just little petty stuff here and there that we've learned about. So bring on the reunion. take a beat, brainstorm this Real Packer Productions and get it right. Call your girl. And as soon as they do their revamp, I'm going to pat myself on the back and gloat as being right this whole time. And that's the way that they should have done it from the beginning. Thank you all for being patient for this recap and the review. I have a lot of personal stuff going on, so stay tuned. We have Inventing Anna, the Netflix original series with Shonda Rhimes production. And we also have Atlanta that has started. They had the premiere and the first episode, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, in between time, you guys, I guess we could just tough it through with this season because, I'm trying not to go to sleep. Y'all take care of yourself and each other. Until next time, I love y'all. Bye.